Hi guys, let's have a look at how we stretch and compress a blob using the JAWS scripts and natively in Melodyne. In my opinion, this is probably the hardest thing to do effectively. You know, it's pretty difficult as a blind visually impaired person using this type of thing because we can't simply see the blob and just stretch it to where it needs to be visually, whether it's against other blobs or whatever, but we can still get very effective results if you know what you're doing. I'm no expert by any means, but I've got a couple of little tips to be aware of when you do it. Okay, so let's have a look natively first of all. The first thing I would do is change your time grid. So the time grid is in charge of how far a stretch or a compress will go. So when you use it natively, control left and right arrow will move a blob, the stretch it or compress a blob by that amount. So if we've got it set to a quarter, for example, it'll move by a quarter. Smaller amounts, 30 seconds and stuff, will be more subtle, but that might be what you want. Going a bit crazy on this can have different effects, and that's why I think it's hard to do it. But we'll do that anyway. Let's set the time grid, go into the options.
Auto, menu, options menu, show sound editor, S.
With Alto, go down to time grid.
Fixed grids, time grid submenu, T, active check, second, bar, 1/2, 1/4 checked, 1.
So we've got a quarter checked at the minute.
1/8, 1/16, 1.
I'm going to select 16th, so that'll be big enough to show you how it works and you'll be able to hear the results.
Enter, menu bar, leaving menus, untitled star.
Then we need to select a blob. So
2, 3, transport cursor moved to cut, selecting a blob. Please wait, ... Done. Selected a blob at this location and returned the cursor back to the transport at your last position.
Okay, what we've got? Okay, this is a good one. Just merge it.
Merge note right.
Okay, so we can hear that now. Me. So the first thing we need to do when you're actually stretching it natively is move to the blob to the right a bit. So press your right arrow key. So if we move on to the one we've got, so we're on me, right arrow once, and then press Control right arrow to stretch it, Control left arrow would compress it by that 16th amount that I selected. So Control right arrow,
blank.
I'll do it again,
blank,
and we'll do it once more,
blank.
So now when we go back to the blob to the left, okay, it slowed it down. So like I said, it affects all of the blob. Another tip is if you wanted to extend a phrase or some kind of fade out or whatever, it would be better to split out the end of the blob. So if you had the word hello, if you use this method, then it would stretch all of the word hello. If you only wanted it to affect the O of hello, then you would split out O and perform these things just on that one syllable. Okay, that one vowel of O. And then you would get a more realistic extension of that word. So that's something to do, but I'm just showing you so you can hear the difference on a full phrase. So as that's stretched it, we're going to go back to the right of it, and then we're going to press Control left arrow to compress it.
Blank.
Once,
blank.
Twice,
blank.
3 times. We'll go one more because we did it 3 right, so we're going to do 4 left.
Blank.
And let's have a listen. And it speeded it up.
2. Transport.
When you're close to me.
Okay. Undo that a little bit.
Undo.
And we're back to our original. We
transport cursor moved.
When you're close to me.
So you get the idea. There's no feedback we can give on this because it only works on blobs that are connected with soft separations. If you cut something out and put it back in again, then this method doesn't work. It actually transfers you to moving a blob. Okay, and that's why we have the script approach as well. So let's have a look at how we stretch compress with the JAWS scripts. So let's find something to do. I think we'll go to around
transport
here.
scroll 6, showing bars 4 to 77, bar colon 45. Transport.
I get back up.
40 transport. 40
I get back up.
Okay, we'll select the word up.
Transport
here.
cursor moved locked.
Get back up.
Unlocked. Selecting a blob. Please wait ... Done. Select.
Up.
Okay, so we've got the word up selected. and then all we do is after we've got it on the transport, so we've kind of moved to it, scrubbed to it, or selected it, whatever you want to, think of it like that.
Transport cursor moved to current position.
We make sure the transport cursor is there at our position, so it knows that it's moving to the stretch point here, and we press shift and right bracket.
Moving to the stretch point of the blob. Stretch dash compress end of blob dialog. Enter the number of pixels you want to stretch the end of this blob by edit.
Okay, I'm going to put in 48.
8. OK button. Enter. Untitled star. Done. Drag the end of the blob 48 pixels and return the cursor back to the transport at your last position.
Okay, let's have a listen.
Go.
Let's have a listen to it in context.
45. Transport.
I get back up
Okay, so that's quite a big difference. Undo it.
Undo.
and stop.
Transport.
I get back up.
So that was quite big. We'll redo it.
Redo.
Have a listen again.
Transport cursor moved to current position.
I get back up and
So you get the idea. So we'll undo it so it was back at its original.
Undo.
go.
So quite short.
46.
And then we're going to compress it now.
45. Transport cursor move locked.
I'm just going to make sure we're on it again.
Get back up.
Unlocked.
There, and I'm going to press shift and left bracket to compress it.
Moving to the compress point of the blob. Stretch dash compress end of blob dialog. Enter the number of pixels you want to compress the end of this blob by edit.
Okay, as this is a very short kind of blob, I'm just going to put in 8.
8. OK button. Enter. Untitled star. Done. Drag the end of the blob 8 pixels and return the cursor back to the transport at your last position.
Let's have a listen.
Go.
Okay, there we are.
45.
I get back up.
It's a lot shorter.
I get back up.
Undo it.
Undo. Transport.
I get back up.
Okay, well, it's quite subtle actually. Redo it.
Redo. Transport.
I get back up.
Yeah, so that's pretty subtle. Let's just go one more. We'll
Undo.
undo it and do it again.
Transport cursor locked.
Get back up.
Unlocked.
We're at the point. I press shift and left bracket.
Moving to the compress point of the blob. Stretch dash compress end of blob dialog. Enter the number of pixels you want to compress the end of this blob by edit.
Okay, I'm going to double it into 16.
6. OK but enter. Untitled star. Done. Drag the end of the blob 6.
Okay,
Go.
and it's really small now.
45.
I get back up.
So you can see if you go too far, it will, ruin it really. But if you're subtle about it, and that's why being able to enter a certain amount of pixels really does help in this regard. So that's how you do it with the JAWS scripts. Finally, I just want to show you how you can stretch a blob beyond the boundaries of any adjacent blob. Up to now, we've just stretched or compressed, and that affects the blobs, to the left and the right of it. So if you stretch one, it will compress the next one in order to kind of keep all the timing and stuff like that. And that's because they're linked with soft separations. We can actually cut out a blob, paste it in the same location, and that creates a hard separation, which then allows us to stretch it beyond those boundaries. So let's see how we do that. There is a good one that we did earlier, which is the word up, I think, which is around
Transport scroll 5. Showing bars 32 to 64. Barker on 32.
40 something.
36. 44. 45. Transport.
And I get back up.
There we are, up.
Transport cursor moved to current position.
Okay, so I'm going to
40. Transport cursor moved to current position.
select the word up.
Selecting a blob. Please wait. Done. Select.
Go.
Okay, so we've got it selected.
Transport cursor moved to current position.
I'm going to press Ctrl and X
Cut.
to cut it, and then Ctrl and V to paste straight away.
Paste.
Okay, so if we listen to that now,
45. Transport.
And I get back up.
okay, it's not changed the timing or anything because we pasted it straight in the same place. So when you've done a cut and a paste, you'll probably have to select that blob again because there's nothing selected. So if we do that, yeah, it's gone back to the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to go select it again.
Last position. Bar 45.
Okay, it was at bar 45. If I hadn't pressed the left and right arrow keys there, we would have been at the same position and we could select it straight away. But because I did that, it moved us to the beginning. So let's go to bar 45.
Transport scroll 6. Showing bars 4 to 70. 45. Transport.
I get back.
Okay.
40. Transport cursor moved to current position.
Okay, so
45.
I'm going to
Transport
select
cursor
the
moved to
blob
current
again.
Position locked.
Get back up.
Unlocked. Selecting a blob. Please wait. Done. Selected a blob at this.
Up.
Okay, so we've selected it. I'll press enter again. I always do this just to make sure we're at our position where we want to do things.
Transport cursor moved to current position.
Press shift and right bracket to stretch.
Moving to the stretch point of the blob. Stretch dash compress end of blob dialog. Enter the number of pixels you want to stretch the end of this blob by.
Okay, I'm going to select an extreme one, 48, and press enter.
8. OK button. Enter. Untitled star. Done. Drag the end of the blob. 40.
And let's have a listen.
45. Transport.
Get back up and start with me. Simple love and no.
Okay, my Alexa started there, but we'll just leave it. See if it comes up again. A bit of live kind of thing there.
Transport cursor moved to current position.
Okay, so let's have a listen.
Get back up and start.
Okay, so it stopped quite, quite close to the next bit, which is okay. So I'm going to undo that, and we're going to stretch it further.
Undo. Transport.
Get back up.
Okay.
46.
I'm going to
45. Transport cursor
I'm going
moved
to
to current
scrub
position.
to it
Locked.
again just to make sure.
Get back up.
Unlocked.
Then shift and right bracket,
Moving to the stretch point of the blob. Stretch dash compress end of blob dialog.
and I'm going to select 96 here. Put in 96,
6. OK but enter. Untitled star. Done. Drag the end of the blob.
and this should be really extreme.
45.
Let's have a listen.
Transport cursor moved.
Get back up and start with me. Simple love.
Okay, so that's how you stretch it beyond the boundaries. Let's have a listen one more time.
Transport.
Get back up and start with me.
Okay, so you get the idea. It hasn't affected that next blob. And this is good if you want to stretch something and just, pad out that last phrase so it meets the next phrase really nicely if the singer has made it a bit short or something like that. This way it won't affect the the next blob and make it sound as if it's being compressed a little bit and stuff like that. So that's how we stretch it beyond the boundaries of another blob.